This is demonstrating communication. Communication is one of the many features found within the Google Assistant. For today's demonstration, I'll be using my Pixel 4 running Android 12 and TalkBack 12.1. For speech services, I am using the Google Speech Services. I am already in the Assistant menu and will now tap on Communication.
Communication. Manage your calling and messaging services.
Let's go ahead and tap here.
Assistant settings. Navigate up. Button, out of list. Showing items 1 to 5 of 5.
I am now on the screen with all the different features found within the communication. I'll put my finger near the top and go through the items, and then we'll go through each of them to see what they can and cannot do. I'll now put my finger down.
Call providers, in list.
We have call providers.
Video and voice apps.
Next.
Device and call settings.
Next.
Broadcast.
And
Your contacts.
your contacts. That's the last item on this screen. Let's go back to the top now and tap on Call Providers.
Call providers.
Let's tap here.
Assistant settings. Navigate up. Button, out of list. Call providers. Showing items 1 to 7 of 7.
Upon tapping on Call Providers, we're told that there are a total of 7 items. Now remember that this has to do with being able to use this thing on your Nest devices or home speakers that are powered by the Assistant. Let's go ahead now and take a look at what these things are.
Set up your carrier to make and receive voice calls, heading.
So in other words, you could set your number to be able to make and receive calls directly on your home speaker. And here's what I got.
Carriers, heading. Google Fi, plus
Google Fi, and that's my carrier. It could be something else at your end. It could be AT&T, Verizon, or if you're in some other country, it may be some carrier in your country.
your own number, unlisted, vertical.
And then your own number, which will be like my number, and it's not listed. I could tap here to make sure that it's listed so that when you're making those calls, those numbers will be shown at the other end of the person that you're calling.
Edit, button.
You could edit.
Google Voice, can't receive calls on assistant devices.
We have Google Voice, and we're told that the Google Voice cannot receive calls on the Assistant devices.
Availability, heading.
Next, we see the availability, and this is available on.
Available on Google Home and smart displays.
So if you have any smart display at your home, whether it be from Google or some other manufacturer, you should be able to use that with this feature. Let's now go back and look at the next item.
Assistant settings. Call providers, in list.
The next item we want to look at here will be
Video and voice apps. Assistant settings. Navigate up. Button, out of list. Video and voice apps. Showing items 1 to 14 of 14.
we are on the screen that shows the video and voice apps, and we're told there are a total of 14 items. Let's put our finger now near the top and go down from there and see the items that we have here.
Zoom, create or link account, in list.
The first item here is Zoom. In other words, when we tap here, we could link our Zoom account so that we will be able to make calls directly from our Assistant home speakers. Let's tap here to see what it has.
Google. Link your Zoom account, out of list.
I'll put my finger down.
Link your Google account to Zoom to enable video calls on Nest displays. When you interact with Zoom through your Nest display, Zoom will have access to your camera and microphone during call. Receive basic device information to facilitate your call, such as your device type. You can always unlink your account in settings.
Now toward the middle of the phone are two buttons. On the left, we've got
Cancel.
And to the right of that, we've got
Link account.
Link account. So if I tap here, it'll take me through the login process of Zoom, and then my Zoom account would be linked, and I should be able to make and receive calls on Zoom on my home speaker. I'll go back from here.
Assistant settings. Zoom, creator link account, in list.
Let's move to the next item.
Google Duo, +1 509.
Next, we have the Google Duo, and of course mine is already linked, and so it says my phone number. Let's move to the next.
Blocked numbers.
Blocked numbers, and that will be numbers that you've blocked to not reach you on your Google Duo. Let's move on.
Unlink Duo account, delete.
If you tap here, you could unlink your Google Duo account so that you shouldn't be able to receive or make calls on your smart display. Let's move on.
Linked devices, heading.
Linked devices. These will be devices that are linked to your Google Duo account.
Control which device you want to use for Duo calls, heading.
And you can control which device you would like to use for your Duo calls. In other words, if you have several of these at your home, you could choose which ones should access that Duo and which ones shouldn't.
Dining room display, off, switch.
My dining room display is switched off because I don't want someone to be bothering me while I'm trying to eat. And so if you have multiple of these around your house, you could switch which ones to be on and which ones to be turned off.
Master bedroom Wi-Fi, off, switch.
That one is switched off as well.
Office Wi-Fi, off, switch.
So in other words, there are some of these devices at my home that I don't want to be able to receive Duo calls on. I'll go back.
Assistant settings. Video and voice apps, in list.
Let's move to the next item.
Device and call settings.
The next item here is device and call settings. Let's go ahead and tap here.
Assistant settings. Navigate up. Button, out of list. Device and call settings. Showing items 1 to 4 of 4.
I'll put my finger near the top.
Home, heading, in list.
We have home.
Only ring when home. When this is on, Assistant-enabled speakers and displays that you've allowed to receive calls will only ring when your phone is home. This feature requires access to your phone location.
And
if you turn this feature off after setup, your home may still continue using your phone location for home and away routines. Learn more.
in other words, what this means is that if I set this up, and when I'm home, when someone calls me, it should be able to ring on my home display. But this only happens when I'm home. So that will need to have access to your location in order for it to work. Now below that in the middle is the setup. Let's just go through the process just for giggles, but I'm not going to set it up.
Setup button.
Tap here.
Home. Exit button, out of list.
Now let's read what the instructions are.
Use your phone location with presence sensing to only ring home devices when you're home.
And
if you turn this feature on, when your phone isn't at home, the assistant-enabled speakers and displays that you've set up with Duo or linked call providers will no longer ring and allow someone else in your home to pick up your calls.
And at the bottom right of the screen is the Next.
Next button.
We'll tap here.
Next button.
I'll put my finger again in the middle of the phone to hear what the information is. Let's now hear what these instructions here have to say.
The Home app will have continuous access to your phone location if you turn on only Ring when home. If someone in this home turns on home and away routines, then your phone location will also be used to start these routines in list. Other people in this home may be able to figure out when you're home or not. If you don't want home and away routines to be able to access your phone location, do not turn on only Ring when home. Out of list.
And next, we tap on the Next found near the bottom right.
Next button. Home. More options button. Home. Agree button.
We are now on the last page of the instructions, and here's the last instructions on the last page.
Your phone will tell Google when it comes home and when it leaves. This helps automate your devices and personalize your home experience, like turning off lights when you leave or enabling features like only Ring when home. It also helps improve Nest services. You control whether Nest can use your phone's location, and you can turn this off in the Home app's settings. For certain features such as home and away routines, Nest will keep a recent history of every time your phone comes home or leaves. Go to your home's history to review or to presence sensing in your home settings to delete all presence history. To use this feature, you'll need to allow the Home app to have always-on access to your phone's location. Don't use this feature if your home won't use it to automate devices.
That's the instructions. And then at the bottom, we've got a couple buttons. On the left, we've got
No thanks button.
and to the right, we've got
Agree button.
Agree. I'll go back.
Assistant settings. Device and call settings in list.
We're back to the main screen where we started, and the next item will be
Broadcast.
broadcast. In other words, you should be able to broadcast home saying, hey, I'm on my way home, or you want to talk to someone particular at your home, you use the broadcast feature. Let's go in here and see what the broadcast system is.
Assistant settings. Navigate up button out of list. Broadcast.
I'll put my finger near the top and hear the instructions.
Broadcast on personal devices. Send, receive, or reply to any broadcast messages on your personal devices, like your phone. You can always use broadcast on home devices, like speakers and smart displays.
And to the right of that is an on-off switch, and by default, it's on or I had turned it on.
On, switch for broadcast on personal devices.
Next, we have
Family broadcasting for guests. Guests can send broadcasts from your home devices to your family members' personal devices, such as their phones. They may see family names and profile photos of your family members in the process. Please inform your guests about who's in your family group so they know who'll get the broadcasts.
So in other words, if I have someone as a guest in my house, and I'm not home, and they decide to call one of us using one of these home speakers, they could just simply see the names of the people on that display and decide to tell the assistant, call so and so. And to the right of that is another on-off switch.
Off, switch for family broadcasting for guests.
If you want to do that, you turn it on. I'm going back. Now let's move to the last item on this page, and that will be your contacts.
Your contacts.
Let's go ahead and tap here.
Assistant settings. Navigate up button out of list. Your contacts.
Here we are on this page, about our contacts.
Household contacts. Set up household contacts as speed dial for anyone to call from your devices. Message. John.
In other words, you could tap here to choose people that could be within your contacts so that people can call these contacts from within your home speaker. If you tap here, you'll see people that you have, or if you don't have people here, you could add them. And that's how you go about managing the communication within the Google Assistant.